coming into today's game, I knew it was going to be a difficult one. Crystal Palace are a good team, doing really good form at the minute. When the lineup come out, I was all right with it. I'm not going to pretend I was angry or anything like that. I think, the hand Graham Potter has been dealt with isn't great. Would have started Carlos Soler over Rodriguez, but by and large, I understood what Graham Potter was trying to do. And I've sort of told myself, look, like I did with Lopetegui, given the first few games, try not to get too carried away either direction. And I knew today was going to be hard, but I found myself getting really pissed off towards the end of the game. And I'm almost surprised at how pissed off I am getting, if that makes sense. We're going to discuss the highlights. So if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe and also drop a like on the video as well by clicking thumbs up. If we can get over 1,000 likes, that would be lovely. It would cheer me up a little bit. Listen, the first half, I thought we were okay. Okay. We weren't good. Crystal Palace were also okay and not good. And I think it was a boring 45 minutes from both teams. We both kept each other at arm's length within reason. I think Palace were a slightly better side in terms of being organised and looking like they had a attacking threat, whereas we looked like we had zero attacking threat. And I think that would be true. We had 3 shots in the first half. None of them bothered Dean Henderson in the slightest. However, you could see what we were trying to do. Cranswell getting down the left side. And whilst I don't think we offered much, I think Crystal Palace didn't really bother us too much either. And it was a little bit of a boring 45. And then the sub at halftime was quite pivotal. Rodriguez going off. Now, it wasn't that I disagreed with Rodriguez going off per se. I actually thought he did okay in the first half, but it immediately hindered us. Crystal Palace got the goal. Ball comes into Eze. He's just in the middle of the pitch. There's just no one around him. Thomas Souček, you assume, had dropped back inside with Edson Alvarez, but he's pressing up the pitch. Edson Alvarez has stood marking Sarr, and there's literally no one on Eze whatsoever. He's just stood in the middle of the pitch by himself, no one around him. Crystal Palace's best player in terms of talent, most influential player in terms of creating goal-scoring opportunities. So we decide to leave the fucker unmarked in the middle of the park because that's a great tactic. The ball goes to Eze, who then just runs our defence, gives it to Mateta. It's a fantastic finish, don't get me wrong, but I think it's an incredibly self-inflicted goal that we conceded there. So if you're a Palace fan, you're looking at the ball to Eze, the dribble, the pass, the finish from Mateta, tick, 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 happy days. But I'm not a Palace fan, I'm a West Ham fan. I'm looking at the gaping hole that in the first half did not exist. That was not there. We were too deep in the first half, maybe with Rodriguez and Alvarez sat in front of our defence. But those pockets of space for Sarr and Eze didn't really exist. 3 minutes into the second half, bang, there you go. That's how you want to play football. That's how Glasner likes to play football. We're just going to let you have it. We're going to let you have the freedom of the London Stadium. And it was incredibly frustrating because I think Potter got that one wrong. I think Potter got that sub and that change wrong. I think it took 3 minutes for it to work against us. Frustrating, very frustrating. The other side of it is the defence needs to push up and decrease that gap because the amount of space in and around Alvarez, he was watching Sarr, but to the right of him was just incredible, really. 1-0 Crystal Palace. We started to get into a little bit bold substitutions by Potter, but ones I will applaud. Bringing on Ollie Scarles and Lewis Orford, fantastic. Listen, there are a couple of positives to take from today. It's scraping the barrel stuff. 2 positives, seeing Scarles and Orford get game time, and Mavropanos being suspended so he can't play the next game. So there's a couple of positives to take from the West Ham side of it. But like the way the game goes, the in-play, I guess the official, I'm not going to use this term, okay? The official term is field tilt. I hate it. I don't like that terminology in regards to football. But the momentum of the game, that's a better one. The momentum of the game is always going to be dictated by the scoreline. So because Crystal Palace are now 1-0 up, naturally, we are going to have more of the ball. They're going to sit back. They're going to concede possession and say, you have it. You come on to us because you're going to have to start taking a few more risks, and that's going to help us. We're going to be able to counterattack you. So, yes, we started to get into the game a little bit, but I do think it was tactical from Crystal Palace as much as it was, or should I say more than it was West Ham playing well. We didn't just turn it on and that was it. We were all over Palace. We were still struggling to create. We still created nothing, and we still had, I think it was 2 shots in the second half, the entire second half. So yes, we've seen more of the ball, but I think it was because Crystal Palace wanted us to have more of the ball. It suited them more than it suited us at this point. Let's just skip to the 80th minute. Mavropanos, man, what are you doing? He's on a booking. Mateta, he's far too tight to Mateta. He goes past him. It's similar to how he picked up his first yellow card, really. And his boots high. It's just clumsy. It's idiotic. There's no excusing it, really. The worst thing is, I don't know where he is, maybe 40 yards from goal or something like that. You don't need to be doing that. He's such a liability. It's unbelievable. Every game, maybe not so much the Fulham one, but previous to that, every game, he does something stupid. He concedes a big chance. Today, it's not the big chance. He concedes, he gets himself sent off, and we're playing with 10 men for 10 minutes. Honestly, it's just... I don't know. What? I'm surprised, like I said, I'm surprised we're not being linked with centre-backs in the January transfer window. I understand a striker is priority. I think today showed that and reaffirmed that you really need a striker at West Ham ASAP. But we really need a centre-back as well. And I know there's a lot of talk around central midfielders. Personally, I think the other two, I think centre-back's more of a priority than central midfield. I'm even more convinced now after watching today, because I don't think Kilman had a good game either. So we need a centre-back in this window, just to even if it's a short-term fix like the striker, whatever. I understand you can't do major surgery in this window, but you can't do none. And I think that's why I'm maybe getting a little bit pissed off today, just the fact that when we did have the ball in the second half and we're knocking it around, there's just no one. Ings is there, but he's not really a presence, is he? We've got no... Crystal Palace had Mateta, bang, bang, 2 goals. There's just nothing. There's absolutely, saying that we're not creating for the person up front, but there's nothing about us at the minute. Anyway, they made it 2-0. Stonewall penalty. I've got 0 complaints. Lovely through ball by Mateta, and Nketiah rounds Fabianski. Fabianski's just too slow. He's read the play well. He's just not quick enough to get there. He'd done the same thing 5 minutes before that, maybe. He'd done pretty much the exact same thing. The only difference was Nketiah got to it a little bit quicker, went round him, and then the defender was there to prevent it going in. But on this occasion, it's just he's closer, so he's able to bring him down and make contact. So 2 occasions in 5 minutes, Fabianski come out to close Nketiah down. You're just too slow on both of them. Yes, goalkeeper, that one can wait till the summer. My point is, a lot of work to be done on this squad, isn't there? Mateta, I was going to say good pen. It's not really. It's not a good penalty. I don't think it's a good pen. I think Fabianski should be saving that. I think it's poor goalkeeping. 2-0 Palace. I've got no complaints with the scoreline. I think they were the better team. But I'm frustrated. I think maybe a little bit of me is pissed off because I was getting excited. We beat Fulham and I was like, hey, I'm looking up, not looking down. An element of me still isn't looking down too much because of that gap between some teams in the bottom. But like I said, when Potter was appointed, we win a few, things are looking good, but we lose a few in a row, and suddenly it's getting a little bit scary. And I think today I've got a reminder that we're not far away from being dragged into a relegation battle. The win against Fulham was nice. I enjoyed it. And I think maybe I've let the positivity go to my head a little bit. And I think I'm maybe a little bit pissed off through embarrassment or something like that. But we weren't good today. We weren't good at all. Like I said, the first half, it was okay, but Palace were not good. Second half, we were worse and Palace were better. Frustrating, really. I'm not going to blame Potter for this one. I think he made a mistake with his substitution at half time, and I think it's cost us a goal to some extent. Was Souček meant to be there? Or is Thomas Souček out of position? But I did feel like a period in the second half, I felt like tactically, the first half tactically, I thought it was sort of working. We weren't creating anything, but defensively we were okay. The tactic with Creswell was there. The midfield was there. Rodriguez and Alvarez weren't showing for the ball enough from the centre backs, in my opinion. And I think there was something to work with. Personally, I would have put Paqueta next to possibly Rodriguez, just because I just don't trust Alvarez on the yellow card, and then got Soler onto the pitch because I feel like we were missing somebody taking the ball off the defence. And I don't think Thomas Souček was the solution to that. I think he also doesn't take the ball off the defence enough. I think Lewis Orford did better than those three. Alvarez, Rodriguez and Souček. I think Lewis Orford is better than those three at turning and receiving the ball from the defenders and taking on the half turn and looking to move it and progress it up, to take it up the pitch a little bit. So I stand by that. I think Lewis Orford's better than those three players at that role. But I think Potter got it wrong. I think it cost us the opener. So either Souček's out of position or Potter's made a mistake. Both can be true. And I think there's maybe an element of both being true. But at one point in the second half, maybe the 70th minute, I'm just guessing here, but I'm sure people will be able to relate to it that watch the game. Edson Alvarez was playing number 10. I don't want to see that. Listen, this is a bit of a criticism of Potter. I don't want to see Edson Alvarez. I know the squad isn't ideal. I know we're light on numbers, but I still don't need to be witnessing Edson Alvarez playing in the number 10 role. He was a bit headlessly chicken in the second half. I thought he was excellent against Fulham, but today I just felt like there was no real positional discipline from him, and it was a bit of a strange one. But I didn't like it. Thought Kudus tried a little bit in the second half, but again, not enough. Not for the entire duration of the game either. 2-0 Palace. Disappointing. Really, I was disappointed today with what I've seen. Anyway, in regards to the player performances, defensively, just Kilman wasn't good. Mavropanos was even worse. The midfield functioned in the first half, didn't function in the second half. The attack, we didn't have one. We did not have one. And this is where I know we're missing players and I know we're missing strikers, okay? And I seen the first hour of the game, but earlier on today, Bournemouth went to Newcastle and put 4 past them, no striker. They didn't have a striker. Didn't stop them coming up with a way of scoring 4 goals against Newcastle. They're playing Utara up front at the minute with Kluivert, Semenyo and Brooks. They also, by the way, speak about our injury crisis. Bournemouth on the bench, one senior player on the bench for Bournemouth. They've got a bigger injury crisis. They've got no striker. They've gone to St. James's Park and won 4-1. So it's not that it is a hindrance. Of course it is. But if you're a really good coach, you'll come up with solutions. And I think we did that to some extent against Fulham. But today, that was not there. I didn't feel like we came up with a good enough tactical plan in order to accommodate the personnel that we had available. It's the 18th of January. The board now need to back Graham Potter. And if someone's slowing this, someone or people at this club are slowing this up a little bit, whether it's Potter taking a while to decide or he's been a bit patient, he doesn't want to rush it, whether it's the board, whatever. But there was no excuse to some extent that we couldn't have had a striker in for today's game. Potter arrived last Wednesday, so a week and a half ago, against Aston Villa. We still needed a striker regardless of the Füllkrug injury. I think that's fair to say. But against Aston Villa, Füllkrug got injured. So 8 days ago, our striker got injured. We've had 8 days, a week, because he needed to be registered before noon yesterday. So we had a week to bring in a striker. We've not done it. That's a choice. This is now a choice by the football club to have not brought in a striker for whatever reason. But every game that goes by is a game that you're missing an opportunity of picking up points. And you can't just say it's because we've got no striker. Like I said, I present to you Bournemouth. Frustrating. Listen, it's not, I'm not sitting here saying anything extreme about Potter or that. I will evaluate Potter between now and the end of the season and decide what I think of him at the end of the season, which I think is fair. But this video is about today's game only. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I enjoyed it. I didn't. I thought we were poor. Not good. Hopefully, I mean, the run of fixtures coming up isn't pleasant. Aston Villa, Chelsea, Brentford, and a couple of other difficult games in there. Arsenal, I think. But anyway, we've got a few difficult games coming up with Aston Villa next weekend too. We're going to have to pick up points somewhere along those 5 games. Otherwise, you just can't go 5 games without winning anyway, can you? So positive performances for West Ham. I thought the kids did well. I thought Orford came on and was willing to move the ball. I thought Scars was coming on and attacking his man and taking the ball forward. And credit to them, because it's not an easy situation to come into. But I don't feel like any West Ham player covered themselves in glory today. I think Paqueta was perhaps playing with a knock. I think you could sort of see that. Sola come on and got on the ball, but he looked frustrated. He looked like there was no one to pass to. Apart from that, there was more bad individual performances than good ones today. That's what I will say. Not a good sign. Back to the drawing board for Graham Potter, and hopefully West Ham can get, I was going to say, back to the transfer market, get into the transfer market, get some players in. So anyway, right, I'm off skis. If you've enjoyed this video, please do drop a like, Conceding, Hammer Chat, and then give us your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of the game. Maybe I'm being a bit too critical. I don't know. I don't know why I'm being... I still don't know why. I feel pissed off. I still don't know why I'm feeling pissed off. But maybe by tomorrow morning I will be. But tomorrow, Sunday at 9 a.m, I'll be live on this channel with a debrief. So if you're kicking around tomorrow morning and you fancy joining me, please do, and get your comments into the live chat, and we'll see what the Hams Chat subscribers are saying about today's game. But until then, catch you in a bit.